What does you mean by military industrial complex? What does that include?
And defense budget. So what they're saying, oh, and this is what they said too, in the book, the the military actually is what makes most jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Oh,
don't really talk about it,
right.
right? Like it's like people
Oh
think
yeah, yeah,
about,
yeah.
you know,
People, yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
oh, I work for, Rogers, something like that. But it's like, no, if you look at who's really funding a lot of these things, it's like the military.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually, if you go back to World War II, this is not even a part of this. This is just like historical fact. What pulled us out of the Great Depression was World War II. Like we had no money in circulation, or like we were like stockpiling. And then as soon as World War II happened, they created jobs. And then I think people realized that this is a great way to make money. So like since World War II, we have never left a war. And then we even started internal wars, the war on drugs.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's what the military industrial complex is. It's like okay, from my perspective, that's what it is. It's like a lot of people profiteering off of war. But what they'll tell you as a military industrial complex, like conspiracy theorists, is that it's a shadow government. There's a government that's running the government.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but like I haven't dug that deep. Like that makes sense because what they're saying is like with aliens and like defense stuff, um, presidents are just revolving door, um, like employees. They look at presidents as like, oh, you're just here for 4 years, you'll be gone, or like 8 years. But there are people that have like legacied their entire career as a military defense person.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like there's like top secret that
Right.
like a need to know, even the
Mm-hmm.
president doesn't need to know, kind of thing,
Right.
you know? And that's why they won't tell the president about aliens, because they're like, the president is just there for 8 years. If we tell him about aliens, he's going to tell the people. Because when he's out of office, we have no ties to him. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Okay, so what are your thoughts? Before I go more into the craziness, go ahead.
So, like, is there any benefits with the military industrial complex for the public?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Like jobs, protection and jobs.
Mm. Even in
And
like,
like keeping the status quo, keeping us like in order.
right? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Like, I think
Like
even
police. No,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like what?
right? Like everything. Like police. We need like gear, like for police officers. That
Right.
falls under the military industrial complex. Is like profiteering off of like
Yeah, I think you're right with
military
the
money.
jobs thing too. Because it's not just because they invent things, but generally
That's
that's one thing that people
that's
forget to talk
exactly.
about, right? Like where did
Thank you.
the
Yes, that's exactly
where did the one thing, see, the thing that we're doing right now, where did that all emanate from?
the internet.
The internet,
Yeah,
which is
it came from war.
came from
War.
yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Actually, a lot of things.
And
It's that radar. Even like I was like looking into that. I was like duct tape. It's like one of the biggest things
yeah,
that changed the
exactly.
world. Microwaves.
So can we
Yeah,
no for exactly. So can we hate on it? It's
exactly.
like no, we like literally what is keep. So maybe so okay. I'll jump into this one again, and then we'll come back to this. So they're wondering what is the thing that is so secretive about the aliens that they can't admit it to us.
Hmm.
So like on the Joe Rogan podcast, like I'll get into that Joe Rogan with George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. That episode was wild. So so what they're saying is like, what is this big secret? Why won't they tell us? And they think it's like, what if people found out that this is a hologram? It's not real life. What if you found out that we're
Right.
being harvested for food? What if you found out that, you know what I mean? Like all these things. And I'm like, I feel like all of that can be accepted. But the real reason why they don't want to tell us is exactly what you said. It's like it's the backbone of the way we live our lives. In order, if we admitted there were aliens, it's not the aliens that's the problem. It's the technology. It's like the redistribution of resources.
Yeah.
Like we would not live in the way we live.
Yeah. Like I read that where it's like we don't know what they're working on now. That's going to change our future,
Yeah,
or how
totally.
beneficial it'll make our future. Like you didn't realize how much the internet has changed the world, right?
Yeah,
Like
for sure, for sure.
that's one of their biggest
Actually,
things. So
actually, I no, 100%. Yeah, the internet's crazy. The So we were driving downtown, and it was CNE, Like it was yesterday. No, 2 days ago. And the the fighter birds, the snowbirds or something.
Okay.
You
Oh yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
the
yeah.
like jet show. I don't know what it is, but they were like. So we weren't going to watch it. So we just wanted to pick something up, and then we kept hearing like, we're like, what the hell? And then Tara's like, oh wow, like the airplanes are so loud. It sucks to live here. And I was like, no, that's the fighter show. And then we're like, oh okay, cool.
Air
So as
show.
we're
I think
driving
it's
through
called air
downtown,
show.
air show, yeah, air show, yeah, air
Fighter
show.
show.
But they're fighter jets, no?
Yeah,
Aren't they fighter jets?
probably some form of it. Yeah, I guess. But they call
Okay,
them air shows
so
anyways.
we're
So.
okay. So the air show. So we're driving through downtown. You know, like the DVP on the top.
Yeah.
You go through all the buildings. The freaking fighter jets are flying through the city. I didn't know that. I was like, I thought it was just localized to like the water and like
Mm.
the CNE grounds, but they're like flying through the city. I was like, this is a way better view than I'll segue into it. So this is a way better view than if we were at the CNE. So as we're going towards the CNE underpass, the freaking this is perfect timing. The fighter jets flew right over the bridge. So they were so close to us. And I was like, what the hell? Like I didn't know like it looked so sick. And then I went home and I downloaded Maverick. I bought that off
Oh.
Apple because like, I gotta watch this again. I watched that movie so many times. It was just so sick. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But all right, so to get with it, so Tara was like, how much pollution do they waste? And I was like, oh, I don't really know, like whatever. And then she's like, why do you even need them? I'm like, oh, we kill people with them. She's like, what's the point of just having fast jets? I'm like, oh, they just drop bombs. And she's like, what? Why would you drop bombs? I'm like, that's how we keep our freedom. And she's like, what? Killing? So I'm like, oh, people don't know. People don't know that like death is how we keep everything going. Like this war, this military stuff is like, yeah, inventions, but also protection. You know, you see all these planes and you're like, why do we need that? Like,
Mhm.
no, really, we need that to kill other people. You know, the
Yeah.
one with the biggest stick in life wins,
Mhm.
right? Um, so, so like,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
so
That's
embedded.
that's why people buy them. People buy them from American, right? So for American allies, these inventions, these
Yeah,
fighter jets that they make, they're not cheap, right? They're like billions of dollars. But people, the
right?
countries like India or like other allied countries, if they're protecting their borders, they will need these kinds of jets.
Exactly. And that is really like actually I was asked this Morale like Tara asked me, she's like, well, is that good? Like, do you think that's good? And I was like, it's just what humans do. And I'm like, I'm at this point, like if I was younger and not really schooled on this, I'd be like, oh, like you shouldn't kill. But then now it's like, oh no, we just do that
Yeah,
to
no,
keep things
yeah,
going.
no. But if you think about it, like it's not like if America stops doing it, then they're at risk, right? Being
For
run
being killed
over.
themselves.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like you don't. There's reasons why having well, they have military bases. They have the most military bases across the world to protect their allies as
Mm.
well as their own needs. And then like I can think of like India's like their military bases where they're specifically located are choke points for like China's because they have oil that come through in the Indian
Yeah,
Ocean,
bro.
and they have the choke points for them if anything goes wrong. So it's like you need
Yeah.
to do these things.
So when we totally, totally. And when we talk about the military industrial complex, it's like, no, that's how the world is built.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the world is built off of like
Yeah.
chaos and war. We we don't have world peace. We don't work together. And even if we had it's like this. Like I think we
It's like
said
in
this
certain
always.
aspects. No, in certain aspects we'll work together, but always you have to have a backup plan if it doesn't work out. That's the thing.
Totally. For sure. No, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, for sure, for sure. This was an example, like a long, like one of the earlier episodes of our podcast, but we were talking about spirituality. And I was like, you can never have world peace because of limited resources. So if we had one apple, I think I was talking about a bed at the time, but if we had one apple and I had a family and you had a family,
Yeah.
am I altruistically going to be like, you could take the whole apple? I'll let everyone here die.
Hmm.
No, because we have limited resources. And then like all the, spirit, like the spiritual lovey people are like, why can't we just share everything? It's like, no, because we literally have like very few resources. We go to the store now, like it was fine. We were living in abundance. So that abundance made you think that we had infinite resources. all you can eat buffets, whatever. But now you go to the store, and because of the supply chains that are like affected because of COVID and the war,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, how come I can't buy any more apples? How come it's like, yeah, that's here now, but other countries have limited supply all the time, and they're fighting for our infinite resource that we have now,
Yeah.
you know? And that's why you need war, because you got to protect your resources.
Or military industrial complex. You're just building on it, not necessarily have particular war, but forever reason to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now imagine the blowback of, it's not even about aliens. What if they said, like, they uncovered, because what they're finding out now, all right, I'll tell you this one. I was going to save it for later, but so right now what's in the works is remember how at the end of the session he was like, if we go into a skiff, I'll tell you all this stuff. And I was so excited about that. He's like, I have all the names of the hostile and whatever witnesses, hostile and non-hostile witnesses,
Mm-hmm.
who will talk to you about aliens. So they revoked his clearance right after that, and other people's clearance. So right after that thing, he couldn't even go into the skiff because they didn't have clearance.
Right.
Coincidence. But that's not what I want to say. I want to say, like, that right now what they're working on is a bill that they'll give you 1 month. They just need the president's signature, but they're pushing it forward. They're going to give all defense contractors 1 month to admit if they have alien crafts. And if they do have it, the U.S. is going to take possession of it. And if they give it up before the month, there's no ramifications. Everything you did will be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give it after the month, we're going to come at you with the full force of the law. And we know they've been hiding money.
Who are we talking about?
The Lockheed Martin,
Oh, okay.
all those defense
Mm-hmm.
companies. So the government is saying that to these defense companies. Okay. And what's crazy is they kind of have to comply because people know where these crafts are.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy part. They're just giving them 1 month to come clean.
Right.
If it passes, though, it's still going through like the process right now, but that's the bill that they're working on. It came up in the Jeremy Corbell podcast. But right, so the military really runs the way we live our lives, and it's what keeps the peace, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And if that came out, if they're like, yeah, you know, your smartphone that you love, you know, your continuous innovation, you know, your like warm AC, warm
our GPS,
and cool
our
GPS. You want all that, right? You want that all to go away? Like that would be,
it stops invention.
Honest answer.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Or innovation, invention. Yeah.
If they took away that money. Actually, you know what's funny? Prior to this, I was like, I didn't know which way I leaned.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to our conversation, I didn't know which way I leaned. And then I was like, oh man, so many conspiracies, so much going on. But like, you actually totally convinced me that no, they know what they're doing. Because if you really think about like invention, it's like, yeah, like that is.
It has changed our lives.
Really,
I mean, come on.
It has. You got to thank the military for the internet. Like, but people don't think that. And I think
the
that's
thing is, like,
the
interesting thing is, like, they're not. It ended up becoming for the public, but like the reasons is all for the military, right? So the point of the internet was network, right? How to connect computers from different bases. That was the idea,
totally.
And thus the internet came from that. So it's like it's as simple as that. Like you don't realize what comes from it, and it ends up being something else.
For sure. This is sort of like the Madara moment. You know how like in Naruto, I was like, oh, I agree with the bad guy. Madara's idea of world peace, where he like puts everyone under an illusion spell and whatever you want. They even had episodes where people were just happy, and then Naruto took that all away.
Right.
Like, I'm team Infinite Tsukuyomi. So this reminds me of that moment where, because I was putting out a lot of stuff about like this military, and I was like, ooh, I hope like I don't rub people the wrong, like the military the wrong way. Not that they care about me, but like,
yeah.
You're kind of putting the ideological flag in the sand. But what I want to say right now is, I think we're both totally team military industrial complex, so don't kill us.
Well, I'm team USA all the way, so always been.
So funny. Oh, but USA is the one that wants to undo the military industrial complex, though. That's what the bill is. So
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Like, yeah,
I think it depends on what it is.
See.
We'll see. I just doubt it.
I'm team Lockheed Martin. Don't kill me. So yeah, but the thing is, though, also don't don't like come to us because we'd totally tell people on this podcast. We'd be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, bro, they just picked me up. I'm telling you what happened." Like I would totally tell you.
I think at this, like, I don't know if this everything is gonna pass. I don't know what the exactly the contains in the bill, or whatever it is to be entailed in there. So, but at this time, especially with stuff that's going on with the war in Ukraine, plus
Yeah.
you know issues with China, right? I don't think that they're gonna be. We're not gonna be stopping the military industrial complex anytime soon.